Good morning, everyone. I'm a little behind, a little discombobulated because I changed do you like my new home studio? Well, I just rearranged my home studio a little bit. And so I'm a little bit behind. Sorry. And I can't even log on to YouTube because when moving, all of my stuff got changed. And here we are. By the way, before I even go, good morning. I'm so glad that you guys are here. Let me move this over a little bit, a little closer. How's everybody doing out there in YouTube land, wherever we are? Everyone good? It is Monday morning. Thank you. Let me know where you're watching us stream from. The M is for morning. Actually, the M is for Morehouse University. When I went on my college tour, or just my tour around the country this past summer and just before the election, I went to Morehouse and I got this. So here we are. How are you guys? We were just talking about something that I'm going to discuss with you guys before I get to the news. But yeah, American outrage is a little crazy, right? And I believe that it's true. I know that Americans are outraged because I have the proof, and I'm going to tell you about why, about the proof. And then we're going to get to the American outrage. There we are. Finally, I think I'm logged on to my own channel. So let me see if you can see me in the chat. Good morning, Lemonheads. Great. Okay. So yes, there we go. All right. So listen, we were just talking about something. Did you send me the breaking news, everyone? Hi, camera looks good. I know. Do you like it? I did all of this myself. Can you believe over the weekend, I adjusted the camera. I set up my little room here, the corgi, the dogs are in here. Oh, the change. Oh, you changed. I like it. You like it. Tell me if you like it, or do you like me back downstairs with the green wall? Etc. Wow, the coffee is good this morning. What are you guys drinking? You having a little coffee? Are you having a little coffee or doing something fun? Okay. So there we go. All right. So here's what I want to know. Thank you. Good morning and welcome to all the new members. By the way, before we get started, since I'm a little off this morning, before you get started, make sure you hit the thumbs up, make sure you hit the like, make sure you subscribe and become a member because that's how you support independent media. Hello, Valerie Vaughn. Good morning, everyone in the chat from Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I'm so glad that you're here this morning, everyone, all the new members. The camera is very clear. I know, isn't it crazy? It's a little too clear. You can see every single pore. I like it. You look great. Thank you, TikTok. If you're on TikTok, make sure you smash the screen. If you're watching us on YouTube, make sure you hit the thumbs up. And again, as I said, like and subscribe. We're live on YouTube if you want to see the full frontal show, which is, because I'm looking right into the camera on YouTube. If you want to see that show, you can go on YouTube. You can become a subscriber. It is free. And again, you can become a member. And we're growing fast. I've been watching stuff. People are like, oh my gosh, when I'm out and about this weekend, folks were like, I'm going to go over a little bit. Folks are like, Don, I'm loving what you're doing. I love your channel. I loved your interview with Joy. I loved your interview with Sunny. I love the sour lemon of the week. Like, I mean, we're on fleek. Do people even say that anymore? Do people even say on fleek anymore? Okay, so look, I'm going to talk about the outrage. Should we talk about the outrage team? By the way, good morning to my team. Say hi, everybody. Should we talk about the outrage or should we talk about New York Times versus Sullivan? You guys want to talk about that or should I wait and talk about that? Okay. Well,
I'd say our elements are more geared for the outrage, but
whatever
you think is sexier.
Okay, so I'll talk about the outrage, but New York Times versus Sullivan, the Supreme Court has ruled against Donald Trump, but it's going to be weird because you guys may not agree with me. I think it needs to be looked at because just the Supreme Court has turned down a request to take up Trump ally Steve Wynn's bid to upend the landmark New York Times versus Sullivan press freedom precedent. So look it up and then we'll talk about it because I'll tell you why I feel a certain kind of way about it. And you may agree with me or you may not, but I feel that perhaps they should look at it. I'm not sure they should overturn it or whatever, but I feel like maybe they should take it up. But let's talk about what we're doing this morning, okay? Because you guys have been saying, you know what? Nobody's fighting back. We'll talk about New York Times versus Sullivan in a little bit. This was a landmark case about, freedom of the press, freedom of speech. It made the bar for public figures and politicians really, really high. And so, it's hard to get like a libel or a slander. Make sure I'm in the center. a libel or slander case against a public figure, and it keeps sources and that kind of thing protected for the press, okay? But it's a complicated case, and there have been people who are saying, you know what, I think they should look at it. Not just Republicans, but Democrats as well have been saying that we should look at it. Okay, so here's the thing. You guys have been talking about Democrats aren't out. The Democrats are feckless. They're not there. They have no power. They have no strength. They have no leverage. They have nothing. They're just sitting around. They're not meeting the moment. Well, I'm going to show you a case of maybe you should take it where you can get it, because that's not so, especially if you look at the crowds. I don't know if you guys have seen this. If you look at the crowds that's showing up around the country for Bernie Sanders and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, it may hearten you. It may think you, oh my gosh, there is hope after all. Have you guys seen this? I don't know if there's been enough reporting on it. Something else there hasn't been a lot of reporting on that people are upset about, and I agree, is that there are lots of protests that are happening around the country, and I'm not really hearing that much about it. You see a little thing sprinkled in, but there have been protests all over the country. Healthcare workers, veterans, and such, on and on and on, and nothing. We're barely hearing a peep from the press. Have you guys noticed that? We're barely hearing a peep from the press. Walz did a town hall in Iowa City, Iowa. We hear a little bit about it, but not enough. I was at a Bernie AOC rally in downtown Denver, says Adrian Joseph. Gate to the facts. Thank you. 34,000 in Denver. Amelia Johnson, you guys know. Tell me if you were there. And the crowds are fed up with MAGA. Yes. People are protesting. The Republican congressmen and lawmakers are like, I don't want to go. They're postponing this. And they are doing background checks on people to make sure that they are MAGA people before they even let them into a town hall. I'm telling you guys, there is hope. If they can get AOC and Bernie to Georgia, I would go. They may come. And shouldn't more Democrats be doing the same thing? I think it's really, really smart of them to do it. And I have been out saying for a while, that, I don't necessarily agree with everything that AOC and Bernie Sanders, like all of their policies, but I don't agree with anyone's policies 100%. And I often wonder why people feel the need to say, well, I don't agree with their policies, but I like them. Well, do MAGA people agree with all of Donald Trump's policies? I would imagine they don't, but they still support him. And also, we're going to talk more, guys. There are more protests of Tesla and producers. If we can get a little bit more, because I know there were more around the country than we have been showing, and I want to show more so that people can see what's going on. So America's outraged. This is American outrage, and I think it's going to continue to build as long as Donald Trump keeps defying the will of the people, the Constitution, the judges who have ruled against him, who he is raging about, even after he got a slap on the hand by the Chief Justice of the United States. So welcome in, everyone. Where are you? Where are you? Let me know. Jacksonville, Florida, in the house. Okay, so let's go. Let's discuss this morning. Good morning, everybody. This is Hot Topics at 10 a.m. We're witnessing a Democratic Tea Party movement. We are witnessing a Democratic Tea Party movement. This is akin to what the Tea Party did back in the aughts. It really is. And it's happening for Democrats. On the heels of a record-breaking attendance at the Fighting Oligarchy event in Tempe, Arizona, that was earlier last week, Senator Bernie Sanders of Vermont, Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez of New York, they held a rally in Denver, Colorado on Friday evening that drew, get this, more than 34,000 people. Look at the screen, guys. Look at that. 34,000 people. And listen, look, these are not obviously inauguration crowds. When you think about this is the beginning of the Donald Trump presidency. Look at all these folks. This is the beginning of his presidency. There is no midterm. This is not a midterm year. This is not an election year. And you have all of these people showing up at different rallies around the country. And they say they're going to continue and keep going. That's right. What's your Majo, whatever, I can't read your name, Grace Reimers, wow, is right. It's 100% right. But again, and this is not That is a cool 34K. And this is not, again, an election year for the most part. I'm sure there are some special elections happening in different places, but yep, that's a good crowd. Now imagine if these crowds build and they keep going around the country and they're just showing up for a rally. This is not a protest. This is just about fighting oligarchy. These aren't protests per se. This is about fighting oligarchy. Okay, again, make sure you hit the like, make sure you hit the thumbs up because it affects the algorithm. More people get to become aware of our channel. So thank you. Look at all the new members we have. Thank you so much. And thank you for your generous support of independent media. Wow, that's Danita. See on a Monday morning. Let me know how you guys feel in the chat. Danita, wow, that is awesome. I told you on this Monday morning that I was going to give you something that you might be hardened by. Jazz and laughter. Yeah, finally, there's something where you can say, oh, maybe there is hope. Maybe there is hope. But get this, Semaphore reporter David Weigel, who attended the Denver rally, posted online that it wasn't easy to find in the crowd who had voted for Sanders, to find people in the crowd who had voted for Sanders in 2020 and the 2020 presidential election or presidential primary. It wasn't easy to find people in the crowd who had voted for Sanders in the 2020 presidential primary, which I think is good. Because these aren't Bernie stands, so to speak. These are new people and they're Democrats who are just not feeling what is happening in the country. This takeover of our Constitution, this tyranny by the right, by the MAGA folks. And look, I know people think that I'm hard on MAGA, but look, come on, guys. These aren't the nicest, kindest, most generous, most welcoming people. They want to own the libs. They say and do racist things all the time. They say and do homophobic things all the time. They do things that are not Christian-like all the time. They don't abide by the Constitution. They break into the Capitol. They call people names, and then they get upset when you bring that same energy back to them. So if you're upset because you think that I hit MAGA folks hard, well, that's the folks that are in power. And they're the folks who I believe deserve being hit hard. Because what are you going to do? Are you going to speak out against the folks who are not in power? And then you just become Fox News, that you just, you like to hit the underdog, stir up drama for no reasons. So these weren't Bernie bros. These were outraged, normie Democrats. And what is more, Weigel wrote that Sanders, the team, told him that half of the RSVPs to the rallies were not from the lawmakers' supporter list. It's not from his supporters list. So as the kids say, watch this space. I always say watch this space as well. Okay, so American outrage. Guys, you want me to set you up this morning? And then I hope you're dialed in on this Monday morning. I need some more coffee because I did not get much sleep setting up this. I did this for you. Can we smile this morning before we get to this? The MAGA voicemails leaked on TikTok. They are brutal. They are rough. Someone in the chat just put that. What are we talking about? The MAGA voicemails. What are we talking about? I'm a little bit out of it, so I'm going to drink a little coffee. I'm going to go a little slower because I was really up late, messing with the corgi, messing with the home studio. Okay, so these aren't normies. And I'm going to show you, guys, people really are not happy. And I think they have good reason to be. I spoke to some folks this weekend. I'm going to show you that about the protests, or about the, protesting Tesla, and also about Bernie and AOC. If you can find some of the protests for Tesla, please let me know. Okay? So I'm going to do a table setter so you can see some of the American outrage that's happening around the country. People are wondering, why on earth am I not seeing more of these protests in the media? And if you're out there, JD Vance leaked convo. Can we find the JD Vance leaked convo? Because I must have missed it last night or this weekend. JD Vance going on Florida. Is it real? Please, let's find it. The JD leaked recording. We got to play that, guys. I didn't see it. You guys see. Thanks for being a reporters, guys. In the meantime, while we find the JD Vance leaked audio, This is a table setter that I want to show you what's happening around the country, and we are going to keep reporting it on all of these things that are happening. We're going to keep reporting on all the protests. Here it is.
From Washington State to just outside of Washington, D.C.
Be disruptive!
Red states and blue states.
Ma'am, I'm not taking orders from you.
Are speaking out.
Let's remain calm.
The town hall tensions have been bubbling for weeks. We were backstage with Democrats April McLean Delaney and Jamie Raskin for a town hall in her central Maryland district.
What are you hearing from constituents?
Well, I think that people are frustrated, and I'm frustrated and furious along with them because, I represent a lot of government workers.
They fielded pre-submitted questions on government funding and cuts. Christine Stafford hoped to get one in person.
There's no plan that they put together for us to say what they're doing.
What would you like to see?
More anger, more frustration. What do you say to Democratic voters who feel like Democrats aren't doing enough to stand up to the Trump administration?
Well, what I say is I tell them what I am doing. I'm going to rallies. I'm, signing on to legislation.
But do you think that's enough?
No, I'm really also pushing on our third branch of government, the courts.
Crowds overflowed at North Carolina Representative Chuck Edwards' town hall this month.
Telling people to kill Musk, to kill Trump, that's not a fair dialogue.
GOP lawmakers, one of a few Republicans who went forward.
Did anybody say that woman said telling people to do that? No one is. Have you heard anybody saying to do to Trump and Musk what that lady said? Like, have you guys heard that? I don't think anybody said that. I think people are upset and they're mad, but I think people are saying the opposite. Don't say that. Don't say that. No, I agree with you, Nikki, but we need to tell people because they're asking whether it is or not. That's my whole thing. Okay? That's it. So no one is saying it. She's completely making things that we're talking about, the JD Vance leaked audio. We don't know if it's real or not. And we don't want to promote it but we want to inform people whether it is real or not. No, that is gaslighting. That is gaslighting to say, telling people to unalive this person and that person. I haven't heard anybody say that. No, I have had to tell some people, even as I spoke this weekend, hey, Rashawn, you're welcome. Rashawn Zeal, official, you're welcome. I love the Morehouse. But I've heard people saying, about the protest and the vandalism of Teslas. They're like, well, I can understand people's outrage. But I still don't believe that destruction of property is okay. So I'll say that. But do I understand the outrage? Yes. I may not agree with it, but I understand. You guys understand that distinction? You get that distinction? There's a distinction. But this lady, and back it up a little bit, because she's saying, telling people that no one is telling that. And I do believe that our lawmakers, our people who are in power, I do believe that they are contributing to this whole thing about unaliving someone, saying people should do that. I think they're contributing by saying that this is terrorism and saying that they're going to, they want to bring the death penalty for anyone who does it to a dealership or a car. I think it's outrageous because there's no evidence that it's coordinated or any of that. We're going to get into it. Oh, I got a lot of show for you. And I'm just warming up with my coffee here. And this is not the I made my coffee in the kitchen coffee. This is the strong stuff down on the corner, down on Main Street. Down on Main Street. I'm so happy, guys. I'm going to let this play. Seriously, can we just for a minute? Can I tell you why I'm happy? And anybody want to listen? Please hit the thumbs up if you want me to tell you why I'm happy. I'm so happy. I'm so happy because we were able to make this channel whatever we want. And everywhere, I swear to you, I'm not kidding. Everywhere I went this weekend, I got stopped. I was in the Best Buy. I was in the electronics store trying to get this stuff. I was in the hardware store. Everywhere I went. Oh my God, Don, please keep speaking for us. Please keep showing the people what's going on. Please keep, I mean, guys, I'm not kidding you. I'm not just saying that as a brag or anything. It is amazing. They're like, aren't you free? We love the free Don. I do miss you on CNN. I miss you on the TV, but I love it. Please keep, I tune into you every day. I'm a lemon head. I'm like, wow. And then like people were like, Lemon Nation. I was like, I'm telling you, I'm not kidding. It is so amazing. And I said, are you a member? They're like, yes. Are you subscribed? Yes. I give it to all of my friends. Yes. Right? Are you hearing about it in your community? I can read you texts. I got a text from Joy Reid saying, Don, everyone is sending me the clips of us. Holy shit. My friend Tamron Hall. Oh my gosh, Don, everybody's watching. My friend Ryan, everybody's watching. I was out in doing Man on the Street. These guys who are like Trumpers were like, hey, Don, we watch you. And then they're like, go Trump. I'm like, okay, are you watching? They're like, yeah, of course we're watching. I said, you're hate watching. They go, yep, we do that too. I'm like, okay, great. You can hate watch. Am I lying? I'm not lying. It's great. It is really, really, really great. So anyways, I digress. Trump is destroying America. Trump, tyrant, Congress, complicit. Look at the signs. People are upset. They want to hear the truth. They're tired of corporate media not really going into this. Yeah, they play some of it. I believe that MSNBC does a good job of playing some of the protests. I can't quite say for everyone else. I think they feel like there's an obligation. We got to cover some of it. But there are a whole lot of protests out there. There's a whole lot of pushback from the people that doesn't make it to the TV screens. And you know how I know that's true? Because people tell me, but also I'm going to show you more of what happened with Bernie and AOC, and then you'll go, oh, and someone asked me about merch in the call. In the chat, we have a call this week, and it's going to work. We're good. Right, Nikki? Nikki?
Yes, hi.
We got a merch. We have a merch thing, right?
We'll make it happen.
We're making it happen. Okay. So let's go back. This woman saying, telling people to unalive Elon Musk and unalive Donald Trump is outrageous. No one is saying that. She's watching too much Fox News and right-wing media. Okay, play it. Here we go. Continue.
Edwards town hall this month.
Telling people to kill Musk, to kill Trump, that's not a fair dialogue.
GOP lawmakers, one of the few Republicans who went forward with an in-person meeting, despite advice from GOP leaders to go virtual.
Look at that.
Why go against that guidance?
Well, I've always been one to make up my own mind.
And he has no regrets.
Will you continue to hold town halls, in-person town halls?
Absolutely. It's some of the most fun I get to have as a congressman.
Nicole Killian, CBS News, Washington.
I was just going to say, who's this reporter? Because she does some good work. I've been watching her. She goes around Congress, and I think she's a good hybrid of like someone who does like traditional reporting, like a sit-down interview, and then someone who like catches people on the fly in the way that, our shorter attention span sort of media is now. I think she does a great job. Nicole Killian, great. I would love it if CBS would let you come on because I think you do fantastic work, and I like to shout people out who do good work. Okay? So she does a good job. Someone said MSNBC last night shows more of the truth, who knows how much longer that will last. I don't know. I got to say, look, there's certain folks over there who not a huge fan of. Certain shows I'm not a huge fan of. But there are some folks over there who are doing a really good job. I think Simone does a great job. I think Michael Steele does a great job. And I think their co-anchor with them, I forget her name, who's a senator's daughter, I forget her name, from New Jersey. I think she does a good job. And obviously Rachel does fantastic work over there. And Nicole and my friend Steph Rule, who was just on last week, okay? So that is some of the outrage that's happening. That's a table setter. And with that said, and with me telling you about the protests and how much we're not hearing, this is a TikToker saying the media needs to wake up and cover more of these protests. And I agree. Here it is. Let me know.
This is my message to the media. First of all, what you need to know is that I'm a nobody. Unfortunately for you, there are tens of millions of nobodies. If you will not report on these protests, we will bring it to your fucking door. And we will do it every day until you cover the truth of what is happening in this country.
Now, this is a Veterans March on Fox News in Washington, D.C. I wonder why we did not see that on Fox News. And by the way, that guy is not MAGA. In case you didn't read his hat, he said, my grandparents or grandfather killed Yahtzees, is what he said. There it is. My grandpa killed, you know what? This is not what you think it is, because there are some people who are believing that this guy is, no, he's not. He's the exact opposite. I love the red trucker hat, says Dorinda Jordan. Do you think, let me ask you this. Do you think, you know how people say, we're going to take back the word, and they took back the N word, and they took back the word queer and all of that. They took back that word. Should we take back the red hat? Should we take back the red hat? Because I remember in 2020 when it was, I think it was Pennsylvania, Georgia, and I got a hat that said something Paga, and it was Pennsylvania and Georgia, and I wore it. It was blue though, and people loved it. They were like, "What is the Paga?" I said, "It's Pennsylvania and Georgia and something else." I've said, and so should we take the red hat back? Should we do a merch hat? I don't know if it's red. Should we do a merch hat? Can we do a red Lemonheads hat? Make America Mala lemon again. That would be great. Make America Lemonation again. And just take it back, because it would tick some of them off if we started wearing those hats all around the country, wearing them to the Capitol. And I agree with you, Camille, veterans do rock. And by the way, these veterans are out there. They're protesting Fox News, and they're protesting the administration because of the services that the administration is taking from members of the military, from veterans who need services, which is part of diversity, equity, and inclusion, which people don't understand, that our veterans get a lot of services which help them because of DEI. Okay? And a lot of the services, a lot of the money, a lot of the funds that they have been ordered to reinstate, defying judges' orders, the Trump administration, Donald Trump saying, nope, we're going to do what we want, and we're not giving it back. But I think they have effed around and found out. I think they have effed around and they have found out. By the way, welcome to all the new members. Thank you. And because of the generosity of Karen White, 20 people get to become members of the Elimination. So thank you for helping us continue to be able to stay streaming. I love it. MSNBC, a TikTok report on Denver teachers' protests around the country. And look, I'm going to put these protests, I'm going to let them stay up a little bit longer than I normally would. And I'm doing that because I want you to see that there are protests out there. So I just said that MSNBC covering it. Not a ton of coverage, not as much as I would like, not as much as you would like, but here it is. This is the MSNBC, and they're doing coverage on the protest. Denver teacher
Nearly
protests.
80% of schools in Colorado are closed because teachers are at the state capitol protesting newly proposed cuts to public education. The Denver Teachers Union says they're worried the new proposal could cause layoffs and balloon class sizes, hurting students in the process.
We are seeing and hearing a lot. Thousands of teachers expected here on the steps of the Colorado State Capitol, and you're getting a glimpse of just a few of them right now. They are still showing up as we speak because they're protesting specifically two things: how schools are funded in the state of Colorado, and millions that were promised last year that are now in limbo because the state of Colorado is facing a $1.2 billion budget shortfall. And as we kind of walk around this crowd here, you are going to see educators from all over the entire state here, Chris, that have come up to make sure that their voices are heard.
It's scary because it's coming from the state and from the federal, so we just don't feel like there's any solace. We're kind of in this pincer movement, like where is this funding going to come from?
Do you feel your classroom could be compromised?
Absolutely. We do absolutely the best that we can with what we've got, but it's harder and harder, and we've got less and less.
And in response, Colorado Governor Jared Polis is saying this: he's canceling school, that at the last minute in several districts will put strains and hardships on parents and will leave kids without instruction and many without a safe place to go. Let's remember that nearly 70% of third graders can't read or do math on grade level, and this leaves parents scrambling to find care. I spoke to one special education teacher just a short time ago. He says every day when he wakes up, Chris, he doesn't know how his kids are going to be in the future, not just a week from now, but a year from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now. He says that too often people use kids are the most important thing in our lives as a political talking point, but that actions have not followed through. And that's why he has joined so many others here to make sure that Colorado educators are heard loud and clear here.
You know what I think? I think they need to get out and just cover protests. Man, I wish I had a crew. Can you guys get out? All of the folks, and you guys are my reporters, or as Wendy used to say, my co-hosts, right? And reporters and correspondents. If you're out in your community and you see protests or you see something happening, put it on a video and send it to us. We're going to get you an email where you can send it. And we're going to come up with an email for you to send it, or tell us about it in the chat. Let us know if you haven't. And if you go to any of these AOC or Bernie or any town hall in your town, send it to us. And because we want to report on it. We're just not like a giant news organization where we have people all over the country. But guess what? We have you. We've got the social media, and we bring it to you. We try to bring you the information coming straight from the folks. Which is for us, our big resource is social media. I'm so glad that it's there, because then you get to cut between the noise. It's not filtered, right? Now, let me just show you this, okay? Well, actually, hold on one second. Let me make sure that I want to do this. Let me just make sure that I want to do this. Right here, if I want to switch up a little bit, stand by. Okay. Yes, I will go to the Bernie Sanders because I want to talk about this whole idea about the Tesla, protest and outrage. Okay, but let's go to Bernie Sanders because I think I have some great videos of Bernie and AOC for you, Don. Adrian Joseph, gay to the facts. How do we get their info? How do we get their info, guys? We need to get Adrian's video somehow. We need to get Adrian's video. Producers, work on that, please. Thank you.
Will
okay.
Do.
Oh, okay, great. Thank you. Okay, so look, I showed you the rally of AOC. I showed you the aerial. Now, this is the largest crowd ever that Bernie Sanders has had. This is Bernie Sanders talking about the crowds at his rally just this weekend. Here it is.
In the hundreds of rallies that I have done,
We have never, ever had a rally as large as this.
34,000 people. 34,000 people. Feels first. Don't worry. I'm getting to that. 34,000 people at this rally. Feels first said, talk about the interview that he walked out on. We're getting to that. We got it. We're going to show it to you as well. We're going to show it to you as well. Now, when they're out there, Bernie Sanders, by the way, and I'm not going to show the clip yet. I'm going to show it in a minute. Bernie Sanders says, I don't want to talk about all this crazy bullshit in Washington, D.C. I don't want to talk about, the sort of palace intrigue that I don't feel is important right now. He doesn't want to talk about what is people saying, oh my gosh, is he going to run for president? I think that is a legitimate question, but that is a legitimate question the way that I posed it. And that is on social media. That is with the people. I am not going to sit for an interview with Bernie Sanders and AOC and say, are you going to run for president? No, I'm not going to do that. Because it's quite frankly a tired question. You could say, look, people are speculating. If you want to talk about it, you can. Or it can be the last question that you ask. Instead of, are you going to run for president? You could say, look, folks are out there talking. I'm just saying, how do you feel? They're saying they seem to want you and they may want you in 2028. And then he could say, I don't want to talk about that. But thank you, Mr. Senator Sanders. Thank you. Thank you for the interview. Have a nice day. But not like, hey, are you going to run? Are you going to run? You guys going to run? No, don't be asking him that so much. So why don't we just go to the video? But hang on, Andy, before you do it. Bernie Sanders does not suffer fools. You're right about that. Wow, the engagement is great, guys. Thank you so much. A lot of people watching. So again, make sure you hit the thumbs up. Make sure you hit the like. Become a member. The subscribe button. It's free. It's right under the Don Lemon Show logo on the bottom of your screen. Okay, so subscriptions are free. Memberships are very reasonable, and you keep us going if you become a member and you subscribe and you like and all that. Affects the algorithm. I hate to keep saying that, but it is the truth. That's what we have to do because we don't have the big corporate sponsors behind us, and we want to stay independent so we can bring you. So if you're watching us live on the TikTok, make sure you smash the heart, smash the screen. We'll take galaxies. We'll take whatever. I love it. That lets me know that you guys are engaged, and you can watch us on YouTube. If you're watching us on any of these other platforms, hooray, hooray, hooray. I'm glad that you're watching us on these platforms, but we would love for you to come over to the YouTube, subscribe, and become a member. And then you get your comments are on and we can talk back to you or whatever. Oh, thank you, TikTok. Thank you for the galaxies. And then we're going to answer some of your TikTok questions and we read some of those as well. So we won't forget about you. I wish we could do that. Some of the Facebook comments are up on our, if you're watching us on YouTube, but we don't see the Instagram comments. Is that correct, Nikki? Or am I wrong? Am I wrong?
Yeah, we can't see the Instagram comments. It's not compatible with StreamYard.
Instagram needs to get with it and get compatible with it.
It's crazy because Facebook is.
Yeah, I know. Come on. So the engagement's great. Make sure, again, it affects the algorithm. Okay, so are you guys ready for this interview? This is Bernie Sanders. And you know Bernie. Bernie does not suffer fools. And Bernie, I love it. I love it when people are just who they are and they're like, I don't have time for this BS. Because I'm that way and people get upset. And I say things that people don't like it all the time. Okay, I'm sorry you don't like it. I'm sorry you don't like it. So, if I offend you, too bad. I apologize. I don't mean to be rude, but it's just like we don't have a lot of time for a lot of things. Maureen Marfell, thank you so much because of Maureen's generosity. 10 people get to become members of the Lemon Nation. So thank you for that. Here's Bernie Sanders in an interview with John Carl, who's actually a really good journalist, but Bernie was not having this. And apparently there were some stipulations around the interview where Bernie said, I'm going to sit down with you, but I don't want to talk about bullshit. I don't want to talk about this craziness that's happening in Washington. We're on a mission. This is to fight oligarchy in America. Can we please stick to that? So here it is.
With AOC today, do you see her as a future of the progressive?
We have one of the untold stories of what's going on in current American politics is that in the House of Representatives, you have dozens and dozens of strong, smart, disciplined, hardworking young people in the Progressive Caucus. And way back when I first came to the Congress, the House, I helped form the Progressive Caucus. We had 5 people at that time. Now they got close to 100. So you got a whole lot of good people. Alexandra is extraordinary. I am so impressed by her work in Congress and she inspires young people all over the country.
Would you like to see her joining the Senate?
Right now, we have, as I said, just a whole lot of people in the Congress. Okay, Jonathan, thanks.
Wait, I got one more. This is important.
Well, I asked you.
Okay.
You want to do nonsense, do nonsense.
No.
I don't want to talk about inside the Beltway stuff. I got 32,000 people.
I was just asking you about AOC because she was out there with you.
Fine, but I don't want to talk about this. What was the last question?
I was just going to ask you one more question about you. I mean, that's all. I was literally your last.
What is your question?
Well, I mean, it's easier to. I mean, I want to ask you about your future. This is the biggest crowd. You said you ran for president twice. This is the biggest crowd you've ever seen. Are we going to see you run again, or what's your future?
No, right now, I am very proud that the people of the state of Vermont sent me back to the Senate with 63% of the vote. Right now, I'm Vermont senator. That's what I do, and I'm very happy to do it. I am 83 years of age, and I'm tired.
Look, Bernie, okay, look, that's the burn. I don't know what Jonathan asked him before, and I'd have to see it in context. I think it's a legit question, and he waited for the end for that. But I don't know, like in what he did before, that may have just rubbed Bernie the wrong way. But Bernie could be a little bit, irritable. But come on. That's Bernie. If I was in an interview with Bernie and he did that, I'd be like, you know what? That's Bernie Sanders. And so I can't really hold it against Jonathan because maybe the man's tired. And maybe he was. Maybe he said, look, I don't want to talk about this shit. And Jonathan Karl talked about it and Bernie had to check him. But it happens when you're in an interview. And so I like John Karl. I don't know. I think it was well placed if it was at the end of the interview. I do think it's a legitimate question because I'm hearing people asking about it and saying, oh, maybe they'll run, right? And so I think it's a fair question, but not something that you dwell on. And I think he said inside the Beltway. Let me tell you guys something, okay? Let me just tell you one thing. I know it's going to be hard for some of you to believe, and this is the truth and it's not bullshit. Okay, so I am not a political person. I'm not a political reporter. I was never a political anchor. I was an anchor that had to cover everything, a journalist who covered everything. And then when Donald Trump ran, it became so much about politics. Politics became so much about the world, about the country. And as I always say, when Donald Trump is in office, he tends to take over every bit of whatever is out there in the atmosphere and the zeitgeist, from sports to politics to entertainment to art, everything. Right? As I say, he shows up at sporting events. He showed up at the Super Bowl. He is now taking over the Kennedy Center, which is about arts. I mean, on and on and on. Everything. Space now, the space race, everything. And so now that I have to report on it, and look, people ask me about it, I give an opinion. Everyone thinks like, I'm so political. But here's the thing I think that saved me and that made me successful. And that I think also sometimes gets me in trouble because people think like, you have to have this certain decorum about DC and the way things are done inside the Beltway. And it's no, I ask the questions for the people. Don Lemon for the people. I like that. DLFTP. Don Lemon for the people. So I ask the questions in the way that people at home ask. I ask the questions that I believe people at home want the answers for. I don't go like, this bill, that's proposal, that's such and such and such and such. And what about, how about this House Speaker? How about this person? And it's like, okay. I get it. And then, but a lot of the times the things that people don't ask in DC, I will ask and they'll go, oh my gosh. Yes. Oh my gosh. And no, I didn't think of it that way. So I would conduct an interview with Bernie, I think, in a different way than a political reporter would conduct, because they've got all these things in their head. And we must ask this because we must impress our friends in DC and the other reporters and blah, 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 blah. And the only people I'm trying to impress are the people I am reporting to, the people who are paying my subscribers, who are keeping me streaming. And that's not to give you things that you just want to hear and see. I tell you things that sometimes you don't like, you may disagree with, but I think that you need to know. So here we are. Bernie Sanders. And Bernie Sanders is right when he talks about, I've been saying this forever, and I know you guys don't disagree with me. Not forever, but I've been saying this over the course of the last couple of months. And we talked about it on our producer call this morning when we got ready for this show, that we have been ahead of everyone. People are like, my friends are like, what are you talking about? AOC, Don, and Bernie. What are you talking about? I said, the Democrats need to give the people what they want. I was not a huge, Bernie stan. I always liked Bernie, but I wasn't. I conducted debates with Bernie and Hillary Clinton. And I think Bernie was in another for 2020. There was another Democratic debate where Bernie was there, and I had to, ask him questions. And I thought, like, whoever I believe, I was on the side of whoever I thought could win. And perhaps I was wrong. Maybe Bernie could have won. I don't know. But the way it played out is that Hillary Clinton got the nomination. Joe Biden got the nomination. And so it didn't play out that way. But I also think when Bernie Sanders in that interview, so anyway, let me hold that thought. And so I think we've been ahead by saying you got to give the people what they want. It doesn't mean that AOC should be out there, leading the charge for the Democrats in terms of policy. But I think it is good to put her in a very public position or public positions so that young people can get to see that the Democratic Party is leaning into young people, that they're trying to create a bench, that they're allowing voices other than the older folks, the more traditional voices. Jasmine Crockett, Eric Swalwell, and people are like, oh my gosh, not those guys. Maxwell Frost. A lot of people don't even know who he is. They say, and I'm shocked. Jasmine Crockett. I was at a dinner the other night and someone said, who is that? And I was like, are you kidding me? But my point is that there should be older, more experienced people behind the scenes who are helping to strategize and to implement and create and decide what the policy should be. So that's what I believe. Now, the other thing is, and look, we've been right. Look at the people who are showing up for the rallies with AOC. And I think they're going to add more younger people to the roster. You heard Bernie there talking about what younger people are doing, Democrats in Washington, D.C., Democratic lawmakers, young people. He was touting them. Are you listening? Now, I'm sure this idea of going around the country was also Bernie Sanders' idea, or at least he was a huge part of it. And look at what they have not necessarily stumbled upon. Look at what they have uncovered. This is what people want from Democrats. And Democrats somehow themselves have not figured it out when Bernie's saying, I've been trying to tell you guys this shit for years, and you're not listening to me. AOC has been trying to tell you people are voting for me and Donald Trump because they believe in people who are authentic. There's a populist message out there that cuts across both parties, Democrats and Republicans. So Democrats, you better take it where you can get it. The folks are trying to tell you something. A clarion call is coming from the Bernie Sanders AOC faction in your party. Get with it. Lean into it. The Democratic Party is bigger than just progressives. People aren't going to, unless you let your enemies or your detractors or your critics define you by, oh my gosh, these people are so left and progressive. Okay, there are progressives and leftists in the Democratic Party, but there are also centrists and people who are a little bit further right in the party, who are sort of maybe conservative, but don't want to be associated with MAGA and what's happening with the Republican Party. You can also attract those folks as well. It is a big tent party. Come on, tell me, am I wrong? You guys think I'm crazy? I don't think that I'm crazy. I think that Bernie Sanders and AOC are onto something. I see you in the chat saying there's breaking news on Donald Trump and Venezuelan tariffs. Anybody he's going to impose 25% tariffs on anyone who buys or opposes Venezuela or something like that. Can get me that and let me know, guys, please, what it is. I have reporters. Reporters, let me know what's going on. So that's what I'll say about that. So here is, and I want you guys to listen and be very clear about this, okay? This is Bernie Sanders talking about AOC and giving a backstory. Now, remember, we had Alina Habba, who was on the Fox News laughing, joking about Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and her being a bartender and saying, oh my God, she's not relatable and ha ha ha. She wasn't buying a drink, she was serving a drink. And it's like, okay, what's wrong with that? Bartenders are part of America. Bartenders have to make ends meet. What's wrong with being a bartender? I don't see anything wrong with being a bartender. But look, and this is why people are asking if they're going to be on a ticket, okay? Here is Bernie Sanders, and it's a bit long, but I want you to listen to it, okay? Turn the volume up, hit the thumbs up, and listen to Bernie Sanders. Listen to this message. He's speaking not just to progressives. He's speaking to centrist people, all kinds of folks. And here is the thing. He is speaking to the people who are going to grow the Democratic Party, some of the very same people who voted for Donald Trump, those college bros, those young ladies in college, those young people who everyone said is not going to vote, but somehow they helped to push Donald Trump over the edge to win the election. Listen closely to Bernie Sanders talking about AOC, whose story is no different than many struggling working class people. And remember, the MAGA folks and the conservatives try to put her down because of where she came from. And then they say, oh, well, she's good looking, she's pretty. There's no way she could have suffered. Here it is.
A word about Alexandria. When Alexandria was a kid, you correct me if I'm wrong, she cleaned houses with her mom in order to make enough money for the family to survive. And then after she graduated college, she was a barista, working paycheck to paycheck. But what she did, as she looked around her and in her community in Bronx, New York, is she saw that change had to come. And so what she did is decided to run for Congress, and people said, what, are you kidding? The guy who represents the district was one of the most powerful members of Congress. He had access to unlimited kinds of money. How much money did you have when we started? You started? None. All right. But she did what real politics is about. Real politics is not sitting at $1 million fundraisers. It's working with people in your community. And she worked hard, and her friends worked hard, and she pulled off a major upset. And since then, she has been a great member of Congress, but not only that, she has been an inspiration to millions of young people all across this country.
Wow.
Now, the reason I say all of that is not just to praise Alexandria, and I love her, but is to tell you and the people of America that what Alexandria did, you can do.
Pause. How smart is this man? How smart is this messaging? Last week we had Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez responding directly to her critics on Fox News, saying they are belittling me, saying that I, as a bartender, am something not to be proud of and not to aspire to go beyond, that working class and poor people can become something, can also change their country, can work and fight for their country, can become a lawmaker. They're sitting there on national television making fun of me, and people like me. She took the message about her and then she expanded it to the people, and how it is true, how these MAGA folks feel about her and feel about American people, right? The working class people, they expose that. And now he is saying to the young people, you too can do the same thing. How can you not like that message? You may not like it. People are like, oh my God, I can't stand Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Okay. But why don't you like her? And why don't you believe that she can't evolve like Donald Trump has evolved? When I say that there is a Tea Party thing happening with the Democrats, you better listen to me, because folks thought the Republican Party hated Donald Trump. They thought he was not going to ever become anything, not be the nominee. He was going to get laughed out because the traditional people in Washington, the Republicans, the Jeb Bush wing of the Republican Party, that sort of traditional old school Republican, they thought that no one would ever vote for him, that people didn't like it. They didn't want it. And the people spoke, right? Those Republicans, those MAGA folks spoke, whether you like it or not. And the Democrats, that is what is happening right now with your party. This younger, more progressive wing of the Democratic Party is speaking. You better listen to it. You better open your ears and get on board, or you're going to lose. You guys hear that? Construction near this where I am. You're going to lose the support that you have, even more support, and you're going to lose elections even further if you don't lean into this and figure out how to capitalize on it. Keep going.
There are millions of young people out there who love this country, who are disgusted with what they are seeing.
There you go. Are you listening, Democrat?
Who are prepared to get involved in the political process. So, Alexandria, thank you for being that inspiration.
So there you go. Now, I want to know what you guys think about it. You may disagree with me, and it's okay if you do, because I got to tell you, I wasn't always, I'm just being honest, I always liked Bernie Sanders. I like that he is for the people. I like that he wants to help people, which we should be doing, all Americans. But I also believe that because the other side, the Republicans, the MAGA folks, are so mean-spirited, they are so anti-American, they are so anti-democracy, they are so just rude and nasty, and I'm talking to you, MAGA. They're so just want to own the libs. They're so homophobic. They are so bigoted that they can't even see themselves. And I believe that they are pushing people who are like, wait a minute, why has our country become so mean and it doesn't want to help people in the country and outside of the country? Why are we saving certain money to help people around the world when we have people who are now controlling much of our government, and they have huge multi-million-dollar government contracts? Why aren't we taking some of that money and helping people rather than getting rid of jobs for government workers, career government workers who are working there because they love America and they believe in America, when they could be working in the private sector and making a heck of a lot more money? I believe that this sort of radical right-wing MAGA attitude and spirit is pushing people to become more progressive. I really do believe that. Because because what is America's always been about? Trying to pull people up, trying to, at least, not always, but trying to, for the most part. We've always had, our issues as it comes to equality and all kinds of things. But never have we been this radical. Never have we had such billionaires who are controlling so much in our government, in our world. Never have we had this much wealth in the hands of so few people. And not just that, being in charge of our government. Frightening, unlimited resources to fight, to primary any candidate around the country, to pour into political campaigns. And I think the American people are sick of it. And I do believe it is pushing them to become more progressive. I think that this whole MAGA thing is going to backfire. People are going to go, wait a minute, what is happening to our country? This is not who America is. It's not who we should be. We should be trying to be, at least. I do agree with that 100%. Mark my words. There are going to be people who are agreeing with AOC and Bernie, and they never thought that they would in their lifetime. And a lot of it is going to be not by choice. They're going to be forced to because, oh my gosh, I don't like this, but holy shit. And people are going to fight it for a long time. They're going to go, oh my God, Bernie and AOC. No way. It's not what we want. It's not what we want. It's not what we want. And then get closer to the midterms and people are going to keep going. This is what we want. And not necessarily their policies are 100%, but they're going to want people to fight back. They're going to believe that these are the people who are actually fighting back. These are the people who are getting the crowds out there and mobilizing people to understand the direction, at least the direction that this country should be going to. And not necessarily that it should end up in such an extreme left direction, if you want to categorize it that way, but it should end up with something that is more humane and more democratic than what is happening now, because now you have the country that is so far, far, far to the right that it doesn't make sense. It doesn't compute for a lot of people. And so in order to move the country back, and I hate this whole thing about back towards the center, because what is the center? But to move the country back in the other direction into something that is more sensible, it's going to take a progressive mentalities in order to be able to do that. Because it is what? A pendulum. And the pendulum has swung too far to the extreme right. And so now that pendulum needs to come back to the left. And that is going to be through progressive ideas, ideals, and thinking and governing. You guys don't hear me, right? Andy, I'm going to check again. Hello, semblance, mic check.
You're on.
I'm on. Okay. Do we have all the levels right? Is that right? Do we have enough bass? Okay.
Let me see.
Yeah. Okay. I know there's some people out there going, no way, I can't. Maybe they will not be president of the United States. Bernie Sanders, he says, oh, I'm 83 years old. Bernie is smart. He's like, I'm 83 years old. But Bernie, ideas don't have an age. Ideas, if they're good ideas, don't age out. And I think people would be open to voting for you or supporting a Bernie type agenda because it is very young and also good progressive ideas. Let me ask you guys a question before I go on to this, because I'm going to talk about this other shit that's happening. Let me ask you guys a question. Let's just be honest, right? Because everyone talks about politics. Can we talk? Can we just talk? Let me just sit down and talk, and then I'm going to just go off script for a little bit. Okay. Andy, is the mic on? You guys love it. I do that, right? I know, because I want people to listen. Oh, you guys listen. Let's just talk here. What's wrong with people? Why have we gotten so mean? I don't like it. It's gross. And I feel sometimes it's hard for me to push back and call people out and like go down in the dirt. And, I used to be like, when they go low, we go high, people. I'd rather, go to church on Sunday and confess my sins and say, forgive me, Lord, for I have sinned, but I gotta fight for what's right and fight for my country. I can turn the other cheek, but I also believe in fighting back and spreading the proper message. But when did it become a bad thing to be a human being? I mean, a bad thing. Yeah. Just to be a human being, just to be humane. When does it become bad not to want to exploit people? When does it become good to exploit people, many of whom who are coming here to America for a better life? Now, just think if you were in a terrible position and you saw a better life right across the fence. I'm not talking about the means and the mechanisms through which you get there, okay? I'm not talking about that, because there are ways to do it. But what is wrong with that? Like, what is wrong with us that we have to demonize people like that? And also, even if people are, and look, I think that we should be deporting criminals and all that, but there should be at least some proof that they are. There should be some oversight. People should be paying attention to the law and the rules and not defying judges. You can push back and say, look, this is why we're doing it, and we're going to do it, and we're going to show you the proof of what we're doing. We're going to make sure there's due process, because even if you're not an American citizen, you still have certain rights here. And not only that, we should be a beacon to the rest of the world and an example about this is how you treat people as human beings. America has the resources to be able to incorporate and to have people assimilate into society, and the resources to push them out if they are here breaking laws. And if they have criminal activities, we can prosecute them and we can get them out of the country if need be. But we should not be saying to people, when reporters say, do you have any evidence of that? And then this just numbskull, it's just shocking. I hate to call people names, but there's no other way to describe it. It says to a reporter, you're a reporter, you go get the evidence. No. That's not how it works. If you are going to make a case against someone and they ask you, then show us the proof. Remember, again, you work for the American people. American people don't work for you. You work for the American people. So if you're going to be doing these things and the American people are asking you for transparency and they want to know, well, why you appear to be defying the Constitution and defying the courts and the norms and the laws, you should show some receipts. We don't have to show receipts. We don't have to show up in court. How is that okay? How can you go to church on Sunday and say, I am a Christian, I believe in the doctrine and whatever, and then then certain people under God's law and the Constitution have certain rights, but you don't think others should? You don't think women should have the same rights as men? You don't think that members of the LGBTQ community should have the same rights? That is not for you to decide at a pulpit. That's for the law to decide. There's a separation between church and state. But I don't understand how you can go to church on Sunday and say, I'm a good Christian, I love the Lord, oh, hallelujah, God, whatever. And then you applaud and you sit in front of the television and you salivate over people in shackles and their heads being shaved like they're on an auction block, like the slaves, like they used to do the slaves. Except they were with the slaves in America. Let's just be honest, that you're trying to get rid of that history, not show it in schools, and taking down Colin Powell's name, all kinds of bullshit. And you say, why? I don't believe that there's a big faction of the MAGA party that's racist. And you are firing or getting rid of black generals. You're taking Colin Powell's name down or likeness. You're getting rid of diversity, equity, and inclusion programs. You don't want to teach Black history in your schools because it makes people feel bad. Like, how is that not racist? Let's not pretend that, I hate this false, like pretending like, well, let's give them the benefit of the doubt. No, when people have showed you who they are, I know it's a cliche, believe them, but why give them the benefit of the doubt? Why do we keep giving people chances when they keep showing us that they're fucking bigots? So don't go and sit in church on Sunday and pretend to be this Christian person that is supposed to live up to some ideal that apparently you don't believe, and it's false, it's fake. Because the last time I checked, it was judge not. Last time I checked, you're supposed to treat human beings as humane. Last time I checked, you're supposed to do unto others. Last time I checked, you're supposed to help your fellow man. But is that what you're doing, MAGA, right now? Is that what you're doing? Because remember, When people are out there saying, we can't afford these things, whatever, we need to shut this down, we need to do this, we need America first, we need to do whatever. How much money do you need? What are you doing with all those billions of dollars? I'm talking all of you. If you keep saying we need to do this, we do that, well, then how much money do you need? We are the wealthiest country in the world. Surely we can make a way. When instead of now tithes, now last time I checked now, and you preachers out there, you mega church pastors, you prosperity gospel preaching folks, tithes and offerings are not just for the church. You can tithe and you can offer by doing what? Helping your fellow man. So I agree with some of the progressives. Billionaires and rich people need to give more. I'm sorry. You need to pay more. And I just mean pay more of a percentage than a healthcare worker, than a teacher, than a nurse, than somebody who's out there living paycheck to paycheck to paycheck. Because a few more dollars aren't going to help you. You're going to be able to make ends meet. Why do you hate rich people? No, we don't hate rich people. We just think that rich people need to pay more. Because guess what? You have the opportunity to live in a place in America where you can achieve these things, where you can achieve abundance enough that you never, ever have to worry about anything in your life, at least financially, ever, ever, ever. So let's not pretend that resources, especially wealth in America, is limited, because it's not. You just get to decide. You get to decide where you put money and resources and focus. And so you want to focus on making more money. Let's make more money. Let's make more money. Let's make more money. Let's make more money. Let's do this. Let's make more money, money, money. On the education department, let's make it money, profitable. Let's do that. Okay, fine. I too believe, and it's good to make money. I too believe that you should be able to, I believe in capitalism, but I believe in capitalism with a heart to a certain extent. So I don't believe that it's okay to be mean, to be ill-tempered, ill-spirited, and then pretend that you are some upright, downright Christian sitting there judging people, reading the Bible. Get the fuck out of here. You don't believe that shit. Because if you didn't, you would be another person. You wouldn't be sitting there misinterpreting the gospel and misinterpreting the Bible and digging a grave for somebody else. You dig one grave, you better dig two, because the next one you dig just might be for you. I'm just saying. So be careful. Just be careful. Let me go back. I'm sorry. Let me go back to, because I just can't believe that these folks just pretend that they just want to own the libs. They just want to be the nastiest people because they are nervous and concerned that other people are getting opportunities. They're nervous and concerned that their power is being taken away because the playing field is being leveled. And people are upset. People are upset because of what? They're defying judges. They're deporting people in an inhumane way. Here's Tom Homan. I believe he's on the Fox News. I'm not sure. And look, if you guys can make out what he's saying, tell me, because we tried to figure it out all morning and we can't. Here's Tom Homan, the guy who's the border czar, trying to explain the process of what they're doing and saying, okay, well, we're not gonna defy judges anymore when that's exactly what they've been doing. Here it is.
How do you determine, or how do your people in the field determine that somebody is a gang member?
Look, it's various methods. No, I've noticed in the media this week, a lot of them don't have criminal histories. Well, a lot of gang members don't have criminal histories.
Can you pause that?
Just like a lot of terrorists.
Seriously. What did he say? We need closed captioning. I have no idea what he said. And this is a guy that's like, you should be American, you should speak American, whatever. And it's like, well, is that speaking American? Like, what is that? What did he just say? Back it up, Andy. You guys tell me if you understand what he just said.
Look, there's various methods. No, I've noticed in the media this week, a lot of them don't have criminal histories. Well, a lot of gang members don't have criminal histories. Just like a lot of terrorists in this world, they're not in any terrorist database, right? We only know the information what's in databases based on, for instance, most terrorists we arrest that are identified by the U.S. government are later identified through a Title III investigation or through an undercover operation. They're not in any terrorist screening database. We know that. A lot of gang members, I started as a cop in 1984. Many gang members don't have a criminal history. So we have a count on social media. We have a count on surveillance techniques. We have a count on sworn statements from other gang members. We have a count on, wiretaps and Title IIIs. Everything involved with criminal investigations come into play. So just because someone hasn't been arrested and charged with a crime yet, doesn't mean they're a member of a gang.
But how do you? I mean, what we've heard from lawyers representing some of these people is that they deny that they're members of this gang. Or either, Tren de Aragua or MS-13. Do they get a chance to prove that before you take them out of the country and put them into a notorious prison in a country that they're not even from? I mean, do they have any due process at all?
Look, due process. What was Lake and Ronnie's due process? Where were all these young women that were killed and raped by members of TDA? Where was their due process?
Well, the people that did that should be prosecuted.
On the subway, where's her due process?
Well,
the bottom line is that plane was full of people designated as terrorists. Number one. Number two, every Venezuelan.
Okay. So, look, no one thinks that anybody should be harmed or whatever, and we're sorry what happened with Lake and Riley, but that is one example that they continue to use. And just remember, I just want to, when they say that, right, and nothing against this young lady, people who are American citizens and American-born citizens commit way more crime than immigrants, documented or undocumented. And so, of course, there should be due process. Jonathan Karl is right. And you're going to have that element. Sorry, nothing is perfect. And so should we? Yes. But the whole term is designated. He said designated. Where proof, please. Where is the proof? Not designated, because I can designate somebody as something, but that doesn't mean that they are it. That means that I'm just saying that I believe. Where's the proof? Hit the thumbs up, by the way. Keep going.
Migrant on that flight was a TDA member based on numerous criminal investigations, on intelligence reports, and a lot of work by ICE officers. Matter of fact,
where's the report, Tom Holman? Please show us. And I'm down with it, if that is indeed so. If that is indeed so. So let me just go on real quick. I want to talk to you because you guys know, do we have any of the things that happened with Tesla? Do we have any of the vandalism or anything like that? I think I sent some over the weekend. Do we have that? Because there was a report.
I have 2 clips.
Of the vandalism?
With the vandalism, yes.
Yeah, let's show it real quick, please. That's it. Look at that. Now, what do y'all think of that? Okay, so here's the thing. As much as I may disagree with some of the government, some of the things that Doge is doing, some of the things that Donald Trump is doing, look, I can't condone vandalism and that kind of thing. And you guys, I can't do it because it's other people's property. I hope no one gets hurt, but I do say it shows the sentiment of how people feel, the mood of the country right now. What's the other one we have, Andy?
The other one's a protest, actually.
Okay. And this is Pam Bondi's on television saying, look, She's saying that this is akin to terrorism. Watch.
We are not coming off these charges. We are looking at everything, especially if this is a concerted effort. This is domestic terrorism. And Maria, now you have this Congresswoman Crockett who is calling for attacks on Elon Musk on her birthday. Let's take him out on my birthday, she says. And yet she turns and says, oh, I'm not calling for violence. Well, she is an elected public official. And so she needs to tread very carefully because nothing will happen to Elon Musk. And we're going to fight to protect all of the Tesla owners throughout this country, and it's this basic safety. Once again, domestic terrorism is going to come to a stop in our country.
Well, it's domestic terror. By the way, I mean, they're fighting, by the way, to Tesla owners so good. They're fighting for liberals. I don't think she realized what she was saying, but most of the folks who own Teslas, by the way, I mean, you guys correct me if I'm wrong, are people who care about the environment, and most of them are liberal. I'm just saying. But anyways, domestic terrorism. And she said, I think she said something about weapons of mass destruction, which is usually what we, refer to as like a, some sort of chemical weapon or something that is much bigger than that. That's what we call weapons of mass destruction, not someone with spray paint usually. Okay. So here is Jasmine Crockett pushing back on her.
I have never promoted violence whatsoever, yet I've also never made excuse for those violent actors such as the ones on January 6th. So Pam Bondi, if you have an issue with terrorism, maybe you should talk to your boss about locking back up those guys that he let out that participated in January 6th.
Okay. So what do you think of Jasmine Crockett? I love it. She's right on it. She said, I'm not condoning any sort of violence. I think Pam Bondi, they know. They're just looking for a scapegoat and looking to push back and a message. Okay. They're just looking for a message. The Bondi clip about weapons of mass destruction. Do we have that one? I thought we played that. But
yes, it's similar to the other one, but expanded.
Okay. That's fine. We know. Look, a couple of things that I want to show you guys, okay, before we get out of here. And that is, this is what's happening with the New York Times versus Sullivan, if we can show it. New York Times versus Sullivan gives the media and journalism a wide berth and wide range to protect sources. It makes it harder for journalistic organizations to be sued for printing and writing stuff about the government. The Supreme Court has declined to hear a challenge to this landmark press freedom case that happened back in the day. And so they want to go back and look at it because this is why they believe that there is transparency in media and transparency. This is a 1964 precedent. Okay, so here it is. The Supreme Court on Monday declined to, can we go back to that, Andy, please? The Supreme Court on Monday declined to hear a case seeking to challenge the 1964 precedent that protects news outlets from litigation publishing critical information about public figures. Okay, so here's the thing. I believe that they need to look at it. I don't think that they should get rid of it, but I think it does need to be looked at. I know the Supreme Court is saying no, and I know that this is sort of the Trump folks who are pushing this, but I think that there should be a wholehearted, honest look at this, because I believe that the New York Times versus Sullivan, this is just my belief, it allows some places, not usually legitimate organizations, but in some cases, yes, but like these bloggers and these these sites, these sort of gossip rags, just to be able to print anything, whether it's truthful or not, about a public figure, and it can ruin a reputation. And there have been lots of things that were written about me that were 100% wrong, completely fictional, not true at all, and it can destroy a reputation. And especially when your livelihood is built on credibility and facts, it can be detrimental. So I think it should be looked at. And I don't necessarily agree that people that news organizations should be able to just write what they want because the bar is so high for a public figure to say slander or libel, and then to be able to have it proven in court. I just don't think it's fair just because you're a public figure. I really don't. I'm sorry. And so, and unless you have been personally affected by that, you may feel a different way. Okay, so that's what I'll say about that. And then again, the Venezuelan thing, Donald Trump is saying he's going to announce, he has announced Tariffs on, this is his Truth Social thing, announcing today that the United States of America will be putting what is known as the secondary tariff on the country of Venezuela for numerous reasons, including the fact that Venezuela has purposely and deceitfully sent to the United States undercover tens of thousands of high-level and other criminals, many of whom are murderers and people of a very violent nature among the gangs they sent to the United States. Again, that's what he's saying. I want to see the proof. This is a way of them messaging. They put stuff out there, not necessarily true. And again, Americans want the proof. And then the other thing that I wanted to tell you guys about, because you were asking about this J.D. Vance thing. By the way, the Newsweek is reporting an audio clip which claims to be of Vice President J.D. Vance criticizing Elon Musk has gone viral on social media, prompting Vance's communications director to state that the recording is not real. So this matters because of AI and deep fakes. They're saying it's not real. Again, people have to get to the bottom of it, but it is believed at this point, as we are reporting, that this is not real. So for those of you who have been asking about these things, you're seeing it on social media, think it's real. At this point, there's no evidence that it is real at this point. Okay, the other thing is I want to show you, Donald Trump is raging this weekend about a portrait that's in the Colorado State House that he hates. And if we can put it up, this is the portrait of him. He thinks it looks bad. And do we have his Truth Social post about it? He says, nobody likes a bad picture or painting of themselves, but the one in Colorado that say that they put up the governor along with other presidents was purposely distorted to a level that even I perhaps have never, ever seen before. The artist who did this also did President Obama. He looks wonderful, and that they must have lost their talent. This is a President Obama. Anyway, he spent the whole weekend raging about this. So like, what the hell? Why does he care so much? Look at Obama's. It's not even that great. Look at him. It's not, I mean, it looks more like him than the fake pictures that they put up of him. And look at Obama's. Okay, that's okay. It's not great of Obama, but did you hear Obama crying about it? And the other thing that I want to tell you and show you before we get out of here is, this is an opinion piece that's in the New York Times that I urge you to read. And it says, why dads take their gay sons to Hooters. And if you look at it, it's a guest essay. And if you scroll down, you will see that the author of this guest essay, or this essayist, is none other than Mr. Peter Rothpletz. Mr. Rothpletz is a writer. It did not say the senior lead writer on the Don Lemon Show. That's the only thing that I don't like about this whole thing.
They wouldn't let me promote it.
I think it needs to say that. Otherwise, I think you should say, then I'm not going to do it. But anyways, that's it. Peter, congratulations.
Thank you, Don. Thank you, Lemon Nation. Appreciate it, guys.
Thank you. So check it out in the New York Times. And yeah, so that's it, guys. Make sure you hit the thumbs up. Make sure you hit the like. And then make sure you subscribe, because it keeps us streaming in these here streaming streets. And we're so happy that you're here. We've got a little bit long today. We were a little bit late because of the new studio. Do you like it? How do you like the lighting? Is it great? Do you want me back down in the other place? But I do like my corgi, and the producers did not want it there. There's also a picture back there of me and my hubby. And then there's some lemon heads. And then I have a bowl of lemon heads that I keep back here. So anyway, so there you go. Look, become a member, like, subscribe, and we're going to see you live today at 5 p.m. Eastern here on the Don Lemon Show. Make sure you join us then. And as I always say before we leave you, anything else? Did I get everything, producers? Are we all good?
Yeah, I think we covered it.
All right. So we'll see you back here live at 5 o'clock. Thank you for your support. Thank you for stopping me on the streets and saying how much you love the Lemon Nation and that you're a lemon head. Keep spreading the word, everybody. Please, I implore you. And yeah, someone said stay woke. Yes, I used to say stay woke. I'll come around with something else. But as of now, what do I say? Thank you, guys. Everyone, as you congratulate Peter. And you know what I say every time on the feed when I finish my live feed, my live show, every single time. Turn this TV off. Thanks, everyone, for watching. Your support means the world to us. So make sure you hit the like button and you subscribe to our channel to make sure that you never, ever miss a video. We're live every day, 10 a.m. Eastern Time. We drop even more content at 2 p.m. Eastern and 5 p.m. Eastern. And if you want more Don Lemon Show content, we'd love for you to become a member of the Lemon community, where you will receive access to special community posts. You'll get exclusive content and members-only live shows. So head over to our channel page or click the join button on this video. Again, Thank you for watching. We appreciate your love and your support.